to have you here on this beautiful Thursday here in DC. Should be a great week of college football that we've got going on. Obviously,
Yep.
started last night with the victory for Missouri State. Such a sad loss for Middle Tennessee State. Watched that game this morning, the end of it. Um, who won Liberty UTEP? I believe it was Liberty. Liberty was winning when I turned it off. Didn't check this
Liberty won
morning.
19
Sam, who
to
won?
8. Liberty wins 19 to 8. Malachi Nelson was benched
Yes, he was. He didn't start.
for
That was
UTEP.
intrigue around that game.
All
Um,
right, oh, put it in.
Alrighty. Louisiana Tech, Kennesaw State. Let's go. Let's go, Bulldogs.
I mean, these are not so great teams. Louisiana Tech and Kennesaw State, obviously, but they're actually, uh, performing well above expectations this year. At least Louisiana Tech is 4-1. Their one loss is to LSU, and that LSU loss actually only by 16. Uh, Kennesaw State playing at the tonight, I believe, and they're 3-2 with their losses coming to two Power Five programs. One of them was a 1 point loss. So these are actually two teams that maybe this actually could be a more interesting game than people would think. I'm gonna go with Louisiana Tech, the favorite in this one, but I think this one actually could be close.
I agree. I think Kennesaw State's going to give Louisiana Tech a fight. Definitely what you could call a bubble game for Louisiana Tech. They have to win out to have a chance of fighting for that G5 playoff spot. Definitely an important non conference game for them next year. It'll be a conference game. East Carolina, Tulane.
All right, East Carolina and Tulane. So Tulane 4-1, obviously. Their loss coming to Ole Miss. They've taken down two Power Five programs already. Uh, ECU actually has been pretty solid this season, but I'm gonna say that Tulane takes care of business in this one.
I agree. Definitely going to be a fun one. Should be close, but I don't see it being too close. Give me Tulane. Southern Miss, Georgia Southern.
Northern, well, these are two pretty average about programs, I would say, this season. Neither of them really have been tested by a Power Five program. They've just, well, actually, Georgia Southern got to play USC, but uh, these two programs pretty average on paper, pretty close in talent. Though Southern Miss does have some high-profile transfers to show for their coaching change last year. Uh, I don't know too much about either of these programs. I'm not gonna lie, but I think that with the playmakers that Southern Miss got from Marshall, I think they'll make a big difference in this one. I think they'll be able to take him down.
I agree. Southern Miss, huge transfer portal haul as they got Marshall's coach and it seems half their team. Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State.
JVSU, I'm gonna go with them. Sam Houston State still winless at this point of the year, so I mean, until they prove to me that they can win a game, I'm not gonna pick them to win a game.
I agree. Realistically, there's a non-zero chance that we see an 0-12 Sam Houston State this year. South Florida, North Texas. This one was an absolutely epic game. South Florida has held and North Texas has held, but I don't see it being as good as some may have predicted.
All right, so North Texas. I mean, both of these teams, for this could actually be maybe one of the biggest games to shape the Group of Five playoff spot race. And these are two pretty even teams in my
Huge
opinion.
game for the playoff.
USF, they have already taken down two top 25 opponents. Not be top 25 at this point. Their one loss to Miami, respectable. Miami is a case to be the number one team in the country at this point. North Texas, they are undefeated. They haven't faced too stiff of competition. And USF, I kind of just trust their team more. I know what they're capable of so I'm going to go with USF in a tight one.
I agree. Obviously, I'm sure you saw on Instagram the email that excuses the North Texas students from classes. I think that that will be used as fuel for the fire, not for North Texas, but for South Florida. I think they go in. Alex Golish gets a huge win and continues his romp towards the G5 playoff spot.
That's
Fresno
not what I
State,
was going
Colorado
for.
State.
You didn't use that term correctly, but anyways, Fresno State,
I
Colorado
did.
State. All right, anyways, Fresno State, they are 5-1. They, I mean, their one loss in week 0 to Kansas. Since then, they're 5-0, and Colorado State just, not in great shape right now. Their one win, they're still winless against FBS programs so far this season. So once again, until I see that they can do it, I'm not gonna pick them. So I'm gonna go with Fresno State.
I agree. Colorado State's only win against North Colorado arguably was fixed by the refs. That is up to you to decide. Colorado State got an unbelievably unlikely call on the last play of the game. Rutgers, Washington. What are we thinking? Big game Friday night, probably the biggest one. Maybe not. Maybe South Florida, North Texas, but
Okay.
Washington's still very much in the not in the playoff discussion yet. But I think they certainly could be with the resilience that they showed at Maryland last week.
All right. So Washington, obviously they finished the game on a 24-0 run uh, against Maryland. They hand Maryland their first loss of the season, playing another East Coast team, but back on the West Coast at home. I think they're the fuel right now. I think they're in a good place right now to actually make a run because they have some talented teams that to play coming up. Michigan, obviously, Illinois, Oregon to end the season, and I think that they believe that they can actually make a run at it. Their team if looked amazing in that second half against Maryland, and so I would say that they should be able to take down Rutgers.
I agree. Think they take care of business at home. Now we move to a game that you wanted to go to. I don't think you're going to it, from as far as I know.
Not
Uh,
anymore. No.
clean deep South Soldiers rivalry, Georgia Auburn. What are we thinking?
All right. So this one is the primetime game, obviously at Jordan Hare, and for good reason. This is, a major rivalry for both programs. Auburn coming off of back-to-back losses right now to Oklahoma and Texas A&M, quality, programs. Both of them, I believe, in
I
the
mean,
top. Yeah, both of them top 10 teams. Uh, Georgia, they bounced back last week after the loss to Alabama, and but now traveling to Jordan Hare, might be uh this will be Gunnar Stockton's first test in a real environment. Tennessee doesn't count, so uh,
uh, Neyland is a much better environment than
it,
Jordan
it'll be
Hare.
tough for him. All right, so anyways, I think that Georgia should take down Auburn in this one. I just can't see Auburn taking them down. I'd like them to actually. Gonna be a fun upset maybe, but I don't think they've got quite enough to do it.
You'd
Michael,
like what?
what,
What?
what,
You said
bro?
my name.
Just because you weren't doing
Uh,
anything. All right, continue.
Clemson. I clicked it. Clemson, Boston College. What are we thinking here?
All
Is
right, now
Dabo gonna save
Clemson.
his season?
I mean, he probably will. Not gonna lie. I mean, Clemson obviously a horrendous start to the year, but at least they beat Bill Belichick. Not much of a win really, but at least they've done it. They should be able to take down a pretty poor Boston College team who still at this point of the year also has zero FBS wins. And so I'm gonna say that Clemson will do it on the road in Boston.
I agree. Don't think that not Toledo that Clemson will struggle too much. Boston College definitely not a very strong Power Five team this year, and I think Clemson will bounce back. I don't think they will be anywhere near what people expected them to be, even at the beginning of the season. Even I mean, obviously it would be extremely unlikely, but not impossible. I don't think for them to make the playoffs right after this. They may have not. They were the only three-loss Power Five school last year, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
I could see them doing that again, but it would take a couple of things going their way. This game definitely needs to go their way if that is to happen. Toledo versus Bowling Green. Toledo, obviously, usually one of the better teams in the MAC going on the road. What are we thinking? Action hasn't started yet, so I haven't followed much MAC, I assume, same with you.
That would be correct, I guess. Uh, all right. So two MAC programs from the not so great state of Ohio, Bowling
Wonderful
Green.
state. Very wonderful state, actually. Just
All right, Bowling Green. They are well, maybe not in a great spot offensively. Uh, their quarterback has thrown more picks than touchdowns. Their leading rusher has just over 200 yards. But so I don't really think they've got quite enough because I think Toledo is once again one of the most talented group of five programs. Maybe the record is 3-2
Toledo,
obviously, but they have a star running back that transferred in from I believe Kentucky after starting at Ohio State. In Chip Trainum, they have Tucker Gleason, an experienced quarterback, a fifth-year senior, and I think that they've got the experience. I think they've got the talent, and I don't think that Bowling Green's got what it takes.
Toledo's great problem is they always drop a couple stupid games in MAC competition. They don't end up in the MAC championship game, and they have no chance to prove their point to the committee. I think they win this one. I don't think this is going to be one of those stupid games that they drop. I do think they will drop a couple dumb games this year. I don't see them holding on. But yeah, New Mexico, Boise State getting into Mountain West play, and they're functionally eliminated from the playoff. There would have to be some wild things to uh to put them back in the playoff conversation after their second loss of the season.
All
I
right,
guess not too wild, but
all right. So let's see. So New Mexico, I've said this before, and I'll keep repeating it. I was impressed with their fight in Week 1 against Michigan. I mean, they looked pretty solid
say this whenever we talk about them.
against an outstanding program in Michigan. So, and then since then they have they are 3-1, and they once again they also took down UCLA, which I mean their loss is looking. I mean the big win over
The
UCLA
wind's looking
maybe looking
quite
a
good
bit
right
better,
now.
maybe a
I
bit
mean,
better. I mean I don't know if it's
nobody knows how
quite
good Penn State is. I mean,
hard.
if we're going by resume, I don't think Penn State's a top 30 team right now.
Not even close. They're probably not in the top half of college football based off of resume right now.
I mean, I think if you're including the group of five, but I think they're definitely a bottom Power Five school in resume alone. I don't think anyone thinks that they're a bottom Power Five school in talent. Maybe most certainly at the quarterback position they are.
Uh, all right. So UCLA. Wait, what am I talking? New Mexico. So I actually like the team. I think that that the transfers they got from Idaho State, I think their coach are helpful. I think their coaching is very solid. And Boise State, I mean, it feels like maybe they're just Ashton Dentke was a major part of the team on and off the field. Obviously, the offense has still been putting up big numbers up until last week, but I
Maybe it's
don't think
Jesus, guys.
I don't think he. I mean, I don't think their offense is anywhere near last year's because Ashton Dentke was such a big threat to break off a big run.
This
I
Boise
I
State
think this,
team came 3 points, a field goal away from beating Oregon last year. Let's just remind everyone of this.
but I don't think that uh, that New Mexico maybe talent wise will have enough to compete with Boise State. But I think this one will be closer than that 16-point spread would suggest it would be.
I agree. I think Boise State does get the win. I think 16-point spread, that's absurd the way New Mexico has started their season. But if it were talent alone and if it were preseason, I'd understand that spread completely. But it is not preseason, and football is not a game determined on the paper. ULM Coastal, you're the expert on Coastal, and since you're not biased, I'll let you talk about it.
I mean, I am biased, but against Coastal
Well,
because this team
yeah, you're having
it looks
well,
horrendous. It looks absolutely horrible. I mean, I've repeated this so many times, but then to
your
go out and
season
lose,
to look terrible so far. Yeah,
but to go out and lose 47-7 to Old Dominion. I don't know why this happens every single year that we lose by a lot to Old Dominion, even when we're good, but we're not good, and we lost by 40 with a garbage time touchdown to make it even that. So, the team's in such a bad spot right now, and ULM they're doing maybe a bit better than I would have expected, than most people would have expected coming into the season.
General Booty, baby.
And let's see. So they're I wouldn't say they've quite proven themselves yet, but I think Coastal has proven that they're not so great. And ULM, there are two losses to Power 5 programs. So, I mean, maybe, maybe, uh, they're better than we thought. They probably are, but not because they're actually that great, just because we thought they were so bad. Coastal Carolina were just so bad, so I'm going to go with ULM, sadly. Actually, I'm going to say Coastal in this one. I mean, I feel
I
like we're
was
going to.
about to overrule you.
I feel like we're going to get a few wins this season. Maybe not anywhere near as much as I would have hoped, but
You're lucky that you did that
I
because
feel
I was
like this
about to
season.
overrule you in favor of Coastal, which would have naturally cursed you.
Yeah, because you.
Iowa State, Colorado, Deion Sanders, hoping his medical condition is good. Poor guy. Don't really know why he's coaching. I mean, there are people who love their craft, but I don't even, I'm not even sure if he loves coaching, just being honest.
All right, Iowa
Oof.
State. They were undefeated going into last week before getting pretty badly beaten by Cincinnati. Don't let that scoreline, the final score, fool you. It was not that close.
It was a beating when we last were watching them on our way to the Maryland game.
Colorado, they're 2-4, and they're really just not looking great. Let's be real. I mean, seeing Colorado and UNC would actually be very fun, but I just, I mean, they're really not
We
in a
just
good
create a
spot.
bowl game for the worst team in the Big 12 and the worst team in the ACC.
No, I just want to see Bill Belichick and Deion Sanders I coach in college, so it has nothing to do with having the worst teams in the conferences.
No,
Anyways,
I
Iowa
know, that's
State.
my point. It's because they're going to be the worst teams in the conferences, bar maybe Boston College. Oh, yeah, and
All right.
Stanford.
Anyways, Colorado, they are well since. I mean, some of their games have been closer than than you would think. Like they're losing most of their games clearly, but they're not like absolute blowouts. They're still a talented team, and they. I'm not too sure about how great the coaching is, but they're still a talented enough team. They're not like bottom of the barrel, but I think Iowa State. I think this is their opportunity to bounce back. I think this is set up perfectly for them to bounce back, so I think they will.
I agree. Iowa State bounces back on the road against a Colorado team that just hasn't found its identity yet. And I don't think they're going to find it this week, especially with Dion being out of practice. Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan, what are we thinking?
All right, between these
I think those are
two
really good.
programs, Northern Illinois. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big Northern Illinois fan this year. I don't think they're great, but it's since it's similar with Eastern Michigan. I mean, these two wins. I mean, these two teams combined have 2 wins, and
That's
uh,
bad.
so this is just not great. I mean, Eastern Michigan they lost to an FCS program. They're not in good shape. Northern
Eastern Michigan
Illinois.
has had a terrible season. Let's roll back the clock. They're in atrocious shape.
All right, Northern Illinois. Their offense is really struggling. They scored just 3 points against San Diego State. The most points they scored all season, 19 points against Holy Cross. Their offense has really struggled this year, and I mean, there's actually their quarterback plays just really bad. I mean, their quarterback, uh, their leading quarterback for passing yards is Josh Holtz, who has just 376. That's maybe more than the average, maybe a bit more than the average quarterback would have in maybe like 1.5 games. So
I
this,
mean, not for Michigan last year.
I'm not talking about
How many
Michigan,
yards did you guys end up getting out of your five quarterbacks?
like 3,000.
How?
I don't know. I'm not. I just came up with that. But anyways, let's
That can't
get.
possibly be.
I'm not talking about Michigan. I'm talking about Northern Illinois, who, I mean, their quarterback playing 5 games. They have 376 yards out of their leading quarterback. That's
That's bad.
that's horrendous. That's less than
But
100 yards a game. So
who are you gonna pick?
so this is, I mean, a battle of two very poor teams. But I'm gonna take Eastern Michigan. I feel like they're the better out of these two really bad teams.
People don't. All right. I think they also have the home field advantage. I think I agree with you. They get it done. UAB FAU.
All right, Florida Atlantic. Uh, Coming off a win over Rice, and they have to play at home against UAB, and UAB. I kind of like their offense actually more than you would think. Put up they've put up 24 points against a Power 5 program. They keep putting racking up a lot of points on the scoreboard up until last week, and I think they've
That
got.
Power Five program was Tennessee,
Yes, yeah,
and
you're right. You're right, Michael.
actually,
Wow.
I was impressed with how many weird formations they ran against us. I mean, they had split half of the offensive line to the sideline. It was very weird, and it actually worked a lot. I was pretty impressed with their coaching in that game.
All right, and well, so and they got experience on the offensive side of the football. Meanwhile, FAU, I love Caden Beltcamp. I still remember when he pulled off like that 35-point comeback in the bowl game for Western Kentucky. But since then, he hasn't been too great. He has thrown 8 interceptions in just 5 games, including 4 against Maryland.
That saved your unbelievable run in Bowl Picker.
Yeah, you're right. Then he threw 3 interceptions against FIU, their
And then do you remember
rivals.
the incredible game that put me ahead of you?
Butch Jones. Uh, Anyways, so these teams pretty average in the AAC. I'm gonna go with UAB here. I think I kind of like this team more than you would think based off the record.
I agree. I think I was really impressed with UAB, to be honest, to come a couple weeks later now that I think about it. I mean, what they were able to do against our defense, which, I mean, if you actually look at where the touchdowns were scored, was pretty solid even against Mississippi State. They were impressive. Um, Pitt, Florida State. Is FSU going to bounce back after that Miami game? And is FSU a serious team? Are they going for the playoffs? What are we thinking here?
I don't think they're as legit as people thought going into after week one. They're on back to back losses right now. 0-2 in ACC conference play. I think that Alabama game, maybe not like a fluke, but I don't think it's really suggestive of uh, I don't think it's like exactly what this team is. I don't think they're quite as good as they looked in that game, and I kind of once again, I mean, it's a week one overreaction, that Alabama game. Since then, their two wins each Texas A&M and Kent State. So I think that was a big week one overreaction. I don't think they're bad. I think they're, well, obviously much better than last year, but I don't think they'll contend for a playoff spot really. Pitt, on the other hand, they lose a backyard brawl in OT. Not a great loss, not a great look. Then they lose to Louisville, bounce back last week over a pretty poor BC team. These are two pretty average teams in my opinion. Two teams that should definitely make a bowl game, and I'm gonna go with Florida State in this one, but I think this one will be actually close.
Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech.
All right, this one is actually pretty interesting. Virginia Tech 2-1 since they fired Coach Pry. They lost last week to Wake Forest in that one. Georgia Tech barely beat Wake Forest their last time out. Then they had the bye week last week. We'll see if there's any like rustiness from them. We'll see. They're obviously playing at home at Bobby Dodd, and I mean, once again, they've got playmakers on the team. They've got Haynes King, obviously, he is the star, and they've got playmakers at receiver. They got a stout defense that's hard hitting, a defense that uh, let's see what the defense does. A defense that gets that gets some sacks. A defense that doesn't force too many turnovers. It's kind of a bend but don't break defense. Uh, and I think that Virginia Tech, I do like them more than, well, like I think they're better, maybe even without Coach Pry, as seen by how they've performed since then. And I think it's gonna be closer once again. I think there actually are gonna be a lot of close games this weekend. I think Georgia Tech will keep their undefeated season alive though.
Uh, ooh, I think they do pull it off. I disagree that it'll be a close game. I think Virginia Tech's North NC State game was a bit of a fluke. I think Brent Pry left this program in just such a bad position that the momentum of finally having done something is going to wear off very quickly. App State, Georgia State, can is Appalachian State any good? I mean, they've had a pretty awful start to the year. Somehow pulled off that Oregon State game to keep Oregon State winless.
All right, so let's see. All right, App State, they haven't had a great start to the year as I was expecting. This is probably one of their less talented teams that they've had in a while since they made the jump to the FBS. Georgia State, though, they're just really not great, as you can see. I mean, they're 1-4 right now. They're one win over Murray State. So they're another one of those teams that still has not taken down an FBS opponent this season. I think they actually have a good shot in this game. I like how they match up with App State in this, and I do think this one could be kind of close actually. And this is tough. I'm gonna say App State will do it. I'm gonna play it safe with this one because I'm not too sure how great either of these two teams are, but I'm sure that like that Georgia State hasn't performed well. That's pretty evident. So I'm gonna go with that state.
I mean, neither team has performed well. I agree. I think App State, at some point, a program with as much pride as this is going to at least have a sit down talk. Someone's going to get some motivation, and they're going to at least have an okay season because their current state of the program is rather embarrassing.
All right. Now we got Louisiana and JMU. James Madison. I don't believe they have. I don't know if they've had exactly an perfect start to the year, but they've done what they were expecting to probably at sitting at 4-1 right now. Louisiana. I'm not a big fan of this team. Their offense has looked pretty bad to start the season. Still looked pretty bad going into last week, where they put up 54 points last week to take down Marshall. So maybe that could have flipped a switch in this team. I mean, it's a big building block win, but I think that James Madison, I think they've got too much for Louisiana to handle.
I think Louisiana is going to win.
No, Louisiana will not win.
Okay, I agree. TCU, Kansas State.
All right, TCU, they're having a pretty solid year so far, as I was expecting coming in. I thought that they would be pretty solid, and they have been. Kansas State, on the other hand, the exact opposite. I mean, I did think they'd be good. They have not been very good, with yet another loss last week to Baylor, and it'll be interesting to see if the talent that they have, if they really are talented, it'll be interesting to see if they really can compete. If this early season has been maybe not who they really are, because it really has not shown them to be very good. So it'll be this one, because obviously K State, they return a lot of talent from last year's team. Pretty similar to Oklahoma State from last year, though. Uh, I'm not like I kind of like Kansas State in this, but I don't think they've got quite enough. I once again, it's a close pick for me, because obviously they're very talented, but I think that TCU probably looking much better at this point of the year, so I think I'll go with them.
I agree. Kansas State, I mean, absolutely embarrassing start to the season for Kansas State. The curse of um, Dublin will live on, and Kent State will be UMass. UMass Kent State.
All right, so let's see. These two teams, I mean, this is a battle of maybe the two worst teams in the FBS over the past couple of years, being played in Kent, Ohio, and Kent State. They haven't won an FBS game, I believe, since 2020. One of them was 2022. The other one was 2023. I don't exactly recall which was which. But once again, neither of these teams have pulled off an FBS win. That will change for one of these two programs here. It's a great opportunity for them. Kent State, in my opinion, has showed more promise than UMass so far, especially UMass having lost to Bryant. I mean, obviously, there's not much to go off of between two pretty horrendous teams, but I'm going to go with Kent State. I think they've shown more than UMass has.
Me agreer. Kent State gets the victory at home. Finally wins the game. Good for them. South Carolina LSU. This game, was incredible. Would it at the start of the season, if we told you that this game was not unbelievably hyped, a top 10 matchup, you probably would not believe us because of how much ridiculously unnecessary hype was around the South Carolina program. South Carolina now goes into LSU unranked.
South Carolina, they have maybe one of the toughest stretches in college football history coming up. They play five straight top 11 matches, and they very well could end that
FCC,
sitting at 3-7.
FCC,
And then after
FCC.
they finish this stretch of five matchups, they have to play Coastal Carolina too. So I mean that's six huge matchups, and then they play Clemson. So I don't think they have a break like the rest of the entire season. So I
Well,
mean,
they have a bye week at some point, right?
yeah, but that's not a game. That's not like an
The
FCS
bye week.
program. Anyways, uh, so I mean, I feel like they've gotta at least win a couple of these games. So could it be this one against LSU? Maybe LSU coming off a bye week after their loss to Ole Miss. I think this could be one of their best chances to win one of these five games. I think LSU might be is one of the weaker out of one of the weakest out of these five big programs. And well, let's see. So, and I think they obviously, once again, very talented. I feel like their first game coming back. Oh, Michael, you got to do your tribute on Sunday.
I,
Anyways,
I'm not. I declined to do that. Say
anyways,
guilty.
this team, I think this LSU team really, really wants to fight to get back to the playoffs for the first time since 2019, and I think they'll come out motivated. I think that South Carolina, while talented, won't be able to stay with them. I think that LSU gets fueled by the home crowd, and I think they will take them down.
I agree. South Carolina going to show a little bit of flash early in the game. They'll make everyone turn the game on for the TV ratings. Old Dominion, Marshall. What are we thinking?
Old Dominion and Marshall. Let's see. So, two once again pretty average Sunbelt teams. Marshall obviously having lost most of their team to Southern Miss, or at least the majority of key players. Old Dominion coming off of a big win over Coastal, a big win over Liberty, a big win over Virginia Tech. They're undefeated in uh well, they're undefeated against Group of 5 competition. Their one loss having come to a top team, a top set number 7 in the country, Indiana, and that was actually
It was a close game. I remember us talking about that. That was
it wasn't
a shockingly close
particularly
game through
close.
two quarters. They stayed
But
with.
all right, Marshall, I just not a big fan of them. They did what they could to rebuild this program, but a gut wrenching loss 2 weeks ago. But coming into their bye week, this one will be. I mean, I think Old Dominion's got this. I think Michael has to play that Louisiana game for our dynasty, and I also think that Old Dominion will
I
take
do
them.
have to play that game.
Yeah, you do because I have a bye week, so I can't do anything.
Oh well, that's unfortunate.
All right, go. That I chose Old Dominion.
I agree. Old Dominion going to continue their great start to the season. They're also still in the college in the Group of 5 playoff spot bubble. Houston, Oklahoma State. What are we thinking?
Houston. I mean, Oklahoma State's so bad. I think they have like I could compare their talent to maybe a pretty average Group of 5 program. So I think they're
I
completely
think
out of place
below that. I
this
mean,
year. And
they
Houston
kind of
is
got dog walked by Tulsa.
so I think that and I think that Houston. I mean they're coming off of a tough loss to Texas Tech. Prior to that, they're undefeated, and I think and this is the perfect team to bounce back against a Big 12 conference win over a team that probably belongs in the MAC or the Sun Belt. I think this is a good chance, and I think they'll do it.
I agree. Oklahoma State. I mean, is there really a Power Five, or is it the top of the Big 12, the top of the ACC, and the SEC and Big Ten? Because this Oklahoma State team may be one of the worst, maybe not in the top 100 teams in the FBS this year. I mean, it is that bad with how it's gone so far. Northwestern, Penn State. Um, will Penn State bounce back?
They will. I mean, that UCLA game kind of feels fluky. I mean, they started off so badly. They were working to come all the way back and were unable to do so. They started down 27-7 at that's where the game was at the break. After the break, I mean, they maybe not dominated, but they, well, made the game closer. Couldn't quite pull up the comeback. I feel like that first half, well, pretty clearly a fluke. I think that, well, while they're maybe not anywhere near as good as people thought, I still think they've got enough to take down Northwestern.
You think they'll stave off Northwestern?
Yes.
All right. Stanford, SMU, the battle of the smart people, I guess. ACC matchup. Such ridiculousness that this game in Dallas is an ACC game. What are we thinking in it?
All right. So, uh, SMU, they are coming off of a playoff season where they were very solid, not quite as good this year, pretty clearly. But Stanford, near the bottom of the ACC, and for good reason. I mean, they're not looking great, and I don't know if they have enough to take down a team that's got so much talent that returns a few core pieces to a playoff team from last season.
Oh, Florida State A&M, not Florida State, pardon me, Florida A&M. Big game here. Is Florida any good? I don't think so, but I just want to know your thoughts here.
Okay, Michael, you might want to face the camera. I could not hear anything there, but
Is Florida any good?
they are kind of. I mean, beating Texas, maybe not quite the win people would have thought coming into the year. I mean, it's impressive. It's an impressive win, but not groundbreaking like people would have thought. They just have not looked great. Texas A&M though, I feel like they're maybe a bit overrated. I don't know. I just don't think they're quite as good as the number 5 ranking in the country would suggest. So it's a tough one for me. I think Florida has this one close. I feel like obviously they're a talented enough team. I feel like they're going to compete with all these teams that they have to play. But I think once again they'll come up short. Michael.
I agree. A&M gets the win. Troy, Texas State.
All right. Let's see. Troy. They're I mean, coming off of a Sun Belt championship just a few years back. They last year just not a good year at all for them. And once again, this year looking a bit better. Looking a bit better. Coming off 2 straight wins over quality group of 5 programs. I mean, maybe threatened Clemson a bit. Clemson needed a second half comeback to take them down. Maybe they're better than we thought. Not too sure. Texas State, not quite the same talent level as last year, where we all thought they'd be a Group of 5 playoff spot contender. They were not, pretty clearly. And they're coming up with a tough 1 point loss to Arkansas State last week. So let's see. I mean, this one's pretty interesting. I think Texas State's better. I just don't think like my opinion on Troy has changed too wavered too much since the beginning of the year. I feel like obviously Clemson not too great, and the first half pretty maybe not exactly
I mean, they stayed with Clemson
the
no
like
matter what's going on. That's not a performance to be discounted.
that is accurate. But is it exactly them being a great? Was that like an amazing first half for them?
No, I'm not arguing that they're an excellent football team. I agree with you in principle, but they
Uh,
are not.
all right, so this one's pretty interesting in my opinion. I feel like these are actually two pretty good programs for in the Sun Belt. I think that these two teams maybe won't be the Sun Belt championship, but they're like above average, and I think that Texas State will do this. Will pull it off. Texas
I
Tech.
agree. Kansas, Texas Tech.
All right, Kansas. I kind of like this Kansas team. I think they're maybe a bit like kind of sneaky, but better. They uh, it was a border war. Their loss to Cincinnati, proving to be pretty
Big.
solid. They're they're 2-1 in Big 12 conference play. Texas Tech. People thought they might be upset by Houston, not which was not the case. They are still undefeated right now. They've proved themselves to be maybe to be a contender, but I actually like Kansas in this one. I don't know like Texas Tech proved that their transfers could mesh together, but Kansas, I mean, they're together. Like this is a team that the talent level on paper might not be quite as high, but it's still talented and it's still got core pieces. It's got a star quarterback. It once again Jalen Daniels. People think every year it feels like he's overhyped. Maybe not this year because this year he has been performing very well. And I kind of like this Kansas team in this one. I would go with Kansas if, well, that is like an option.
You want you. What is the feeling behind your Kansas pick here? I want to know.
More so, I don't think Texas Tech is gonna is gonna stay consistent. I feel like this is a chance. I don't think they're gonna go undefeated, obviously, and Kansas well feels like a pretty logical pick here. I think they could pull off this upset because well they've all around they're a solid program and solid team on paper. Their offense has looked high flying. Their defense maybe has some work to do, but this is like the kind of game they want to be in, where where this is like a shootout, and I feel like they can keep up with Texas Tech in that sense. So I'm gonna go with Kansas.
No, I really want to overrule you,
All right, you can then, but I mean,
but but
but
I'm
what happened
not.
the last? What happened the last three times you
I'm
tried to
not.
overrule me?
Navy Temp.
All right, Navy. They are well. They're obviously another contender for a group of five playoff spot. There are a lot of them at this point of the year. They're undefeated right now, coming off a big win over rivals Air Force. Now they travel to Philly. Temple has two losses on the year. Two losses to top programs. Uh, to two undefeated programs in the Power Five, Georgia Tech and Oklahoma. And I actually do kind of like them here. I don't know. This one is a tight game for me. I feel like this, but I feel like Navy can wear teams down very well. Obviously, it's very effective. With their offense, they can always wear teams down with the triple option offense that all these service academies use. That's why they're very consistently good. Service academies, maybe not more so Army, I'd say, but I think Navy will take down Temple.
Go Navy, beat Army. I agree. Miami, Ohio, Akron.
All right, Miami of Ohio. They are once again, in my opinion, probably talent wise, they are the best team in the MAC. That would be what that's what I think. But and Akron, pretty much the opposite. I'd say they're near the bottom of the MAC talent wise. Obviously, nowhere near the start for the season that Miami of Ohio would have would have wanted. I mean, it might have been expected when that you play two Big Ten teams, but they've got two straight wins, and I feel like they should be able to make it three against an Akron team that's just not too great.
I agree. Miami of Ohio, much more consistent than Toledo or Ohio in of the top three in the MAC in conference play. I think they finished off their victory.
All right, Michael. All right, so for BYU Arizona,
BYU, Arizona State. Oh, bro.
wow, that's so funny, bro. All right,
God.
BYU and Arizona. So once again, this game, I think has upset potential. Bear Buckmeyer has performed much better this season than I would have ever expected him to. I mean, it's a lot to step into this to step in for Jake Ratzloff, and he's done it very effectively. He is a true freshman, which kind of scares me, playing in a hostile environment, which BYU they have only played away from, well, at a legitimate environment one time. That's against Colorado, where I'm not going to say he struggled, played very solidly, but it was a much closer game than, well, what they would have wanted. And once again, Arizona, this is a better team than Colorado. I think once again, I love their offense. I actually I actually do like what Brent Brennan has done for them. The defense racks up a lot of tackles. They get a lot of sacks, and also they force a good amount of turnovers, which is pretty important. Can they bait the true freshman into throwing some picks? That'll be interesting. We'll see. He's only thrown one all season so far. But I like this Arizona. I like how they match up here. At home as well. I'm actually going to take Arizona.
You're gonna take Arizona? Oh, oh, I don't have to talk about this. I agree with you. I thought the way Arizona matches up with this BYU team, I think this BYU team has there's a lot of weaknesses that play to Arizona's strengths. That being said, I think that there's still a big talent gulf. Again, that being said, I'm not going to overrule you because I'm too scared to do it anymore. Give me Arizona.
Yeah.
UCF Cincinnati. Two old AAC teams going to bat in Cincy. Poor Cincinnati, their season fell off after that Nebraska game. I think they're legit. I think they're insanely good. I think no, I'm joking, but like they're pretty good.
Very solid. They obviously just pulled off the big upset to end Iowa State's undefeated season. Now they stay at home for their second straight home game. They play UCF, who has not looked too great to start the year. They have been one of Kansas State's only two wins, which is not somewhere you want to be. Not gonna lie. Uh, Coming off back-to-back losses to two programs from Kansas, they really haven't proven themselves with like a big win yet. I'm gonna say because obviously UNC has looked so bad, and I think that Cincinnati, I trust them more, and I actually do think uh, they'll finish pretty high up in the Big 12 this season. And I think they should take down UCF here.
I agree. Cincinnati holds on at home against the UCF team that's definitely taken a step back. Ohio State, Illinois.
The Illibok Trophy returns. And
Was
I
that?
mean, it's just so hard for me to pick Illinois after watching them perform against Indiana. It's so hard for me to pick a team to take down Ohio State that lost by 53. They gave up 63
Spaghetti
points.
coward?
Obviously, Indiana's a very good program, but it's so hard for me to pick a team that did that. Now they get to for me to pick it for the like I just can't pick them to beat Ohio State here. So Ohio State they have not really shown uh they have not really shown any weakness. I hate to say. I mean they're very good once again, and they should take down Illinois here.
I agree. Ohio State finishes off Illinois, Illinois, poor Illinois. They stormed the field, such a ridiculous thing. And then I got slammed on Reddit for asking why they were storming the field.
Oh, Reddit.
Nebraska, Maryland. You're going to that game.
We'll see, but
I said so. You're going to that game.
uh, I mean, don't know how. Okay, anyways, Maryland coming
You're
off
going
of
to
a
that game.
very tough loss to Washington, to UW last weekend, where they choked a 20-0 lead in the second half. In the final 18 minutes, I mean, it's such a bad choke. They just had to hold on. They were so predictable too. I mean, Maryland's just not going to get over the hump. It feels like Nebraska, their one loss to potentially the best team in the country in Michigan. So
Potentially the worst.
So Nebraska, they have a very solid win over Cincinnati. I don't that should not be overlooked. Cincinnati's a very good program. Took down Michigan
Uh
State
huh.
last week. I think they continue their run here. I don't think this one. I mean, this one could be close. I think this one
You
will be
don't want to
less close than the
see.
Washington game, but I think that Nebraska will win this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Um, I'm not sure if I agree. I think Maryland may bounce back, but no, it's Maryland, and it's October. Maryland is cursed in the month of October. They will never win a football game in the month of October. Give me the Nebraska Cornhuskers on the road getting the W. Purdue, Minnesota. More Big Ten games.
All right. So this Big Ten slate very enticing this week. This game not very enticing.
Not at all.
So, Minnesota, I like this team every single year. I think they're very solid. Every single year, I like how good their defense looks. Drake Lindsey, the redshirt freshman, is a very interesting prospect. I mean, he's looked very solid this season, and I mean, he really could be the signal caller for the next 4 years for this team. They're, I mean, they've looked pretty solid. I would have said, but then they go out and lose 42-3 to Ohio State, which, as Michigan has showed, is I mean is not a good look because Ohio State's not unbeatable. So
Oh, sure.
so Purdue, they look better than they did last year. That's not much. That's not saying too much. They still have not looked too great, and I do actually like Minnesota here. I'm gonna take Minnesota.
I liked what Minnesota was able to do against Ohio State. I mean, they didn't look great, but
How
if you
how do you
actually
like what
watch
they did
the
against Ohio State?
well,
Like
the
what?
scoreline
They lost
doesn't look good,
42
but
to
if you
3.
watch the game, they had a couple good plays. They had a good start. Indiana,
I did watch the game,
Oregon.
and okay. So this one,
You're fine.
top seven battle in the Big Ten, and for good reason. I mean, Indiana. I mean, they can say they're overrated, but they've earned their spot in the top, at number 7. I think. I mean, a win over Illinois. The only
That's
loss that
good.
Illinois has so far this year, and it's a 63-10 win. That's pretty
That's
incredible.
not good.
So, but Oregon, they have to travel to Eugene. Oregon, they are. It looked like they had a big win. Maybe not as much after watching Penn State play UCLA.
I mean, it was still a win at the Penn State whiteout game, no matter how bad Penn State is. That's impressive.
That is factual. Um, they're undefeated
But
at this point, just like Indiana, and they really haven't, like, outside of that Penn State game. I mean, they've been pretty dominant. Indiana, you gotta show me you can win a big game before I'm gonna pick you to win a big game. Their losses to Ohio State last year and to Notre Dame, and their biggest wins last year. I can't think of a big win for them last year. Actually, Michigan maybe. They were 11-1 in the regular season last year, but who did they beat? And once again this year they have a win over Illinois.
sound like all those naysayers.
Yeah, and
Turns out that the naysayers were right. They got whooped.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, and once again they have a very simple Big Ten schedule, where once they take down Oregon, they should be in the clear up until that stretch with Maryland, who could be all right, and Penn State. So, but I
If
just don't
they're in
think
the
they'll take down
clear,
Oregon.
if we're
I mean,
talking
if they
about
do,
Maryland as a difficult game, I think they're in the clear here.
yeah, all right. I mean, I feel like you got to show me. I mean, it would be very interesting if they were to pull this off, but I don't think they will.
Right, Ayudani. I agree.
What?
Oregon wins. Um, Michigan, USC. Sam, you're exiled.
All right, sounds good.
This is a game that I have been thinking about for a long time. How I'm gonna pick this. Oh, it's right next to the Tennessee game too, so you'll come back very shortly. Huh.
No.
What do we think? There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people right now talking about how USC is gonna get some revenge, pull off a big upset here. At CF Budge thinking that. Now, I don't think that they're going to pull off a big upset here. I think that they are weak. I think that USC is not a strong football program this year. I think that Michigan is a strong football program this year. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close. Let me just make that clear. I think Michigan will struggle like they did against Wisconsin, especially on the road. It will be a closer game even than that one. Final score will be somewhere in the range of 31-21. Michigan will win this football game on the road. Arkansas, Tennessee. Sam, your pick.
All right, so Arkansas and Tennessee. This one, well, Tennessee. I believe they have actually lost to Arkansas. I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago,
It
but it
was
was a
last year.
but it was a big upset for that Arkansas pulled off. And once again, I feel that Tennessee maybe not quite as good as their ranking would suggest. I mean, number 12 in the country. I mean that spot probably is warranted right now. Their one loss in overtime loss to Georgia, but are they that good? Is my question, and I don't personally don't think they are. I think that Arkansas definitely could pull off this upset until you get to the fact that they've lost to Memphis and Notre Dame consecutively. They lost to Notre Dame by 43 points just 2 weeks ago, and then since then they, uh, well, they have said goodbye to their coach Sam Pittman.
And they
So,
brought back their old coach, Bobby Petrino.
yep, Bobby Petrino has returned, but I don't think he's got what it takes to take down Tennessee in his first game back as the interim. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
Rice, UTSA.
All right. All right, UTSA. They're not a great start to the year. Not perfect for the program. I mean, they've had some close losses to Texas State, to Temple. They have had some big wins. I mean, I'm not gonna say big wins, but they beat Colorado State. Not a big win. They beat Incarnate Word. Not too great of a win on paper. Rice actually looking for some kind of all right this year. I mean, better
Rice
than
is 3 and
I
1
would
for
have
the
thought.
first time since like the 1980s or some crazy stat.
I mean, they're looking better than what was probably expected of them. But UTSA, once again, they've got the coaching that is uh, above par coaching, better than most of the AAC. They've got more talent than most teams in the AAC. They've got the resources that teams in the AAC don't really have. So I'm gonna go with UTSA.
I agree. College football 25 typically gets this right. UTSA definitely a bit of an better program than maybe even the recent in-game performances have shown. They're definitely going to be considered in the next round of realignment. I think they beat Rice soundly. Arizona State, Utah.
All right, ASU and Utah. Both of these teams have one loss apiece. Utah is a pretty bad one to Texas Tech. Texas Tech might be legit. They could be.
I mean, how is it a bad loss if Texas Tech is legit?
Because they lost by 24 points.
I mean, that's still.
I
Would
mean,
you
but it
say a
was.
bad loss is the loss to Bama by 24 points 2 years ago?
I would because it's a loss by 24 points. If you're a very good team, you should not be losing by 24 points. End of debate. But at the same time,
I
they, they
agree.
and at the same time, it was a 3 point game with just 10 minutes to go. It's closer than the scoreline suggests. I mean, 34-10 suggests it was a blowout, maybe a garbage time touchdown. That was not the case at all. They bounced back a week later, going into their bye week. They play at home at Rice Eccles. They host a ranked program now. ASU now has a bigger target on their back. People might have written them off a tiny bit after the Mississippi State loss. They are back. They have beaten Baylor. They've beaten TCU. And will they continue this run against Utah? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Utah.
You know what? I haven't done this yet, but this is where it's deserved. Arizona State overrule. Even despite what I said about Utah, I think that Arizona State's a really good team. I think Mississippi State's also a really good team this year. I think that it's actually going to be a great game. I think Arizona State pulls off the road victory, and my overrule finally succeeds.
Well, I mean, if you overrule me, I hope that you think it will succeed. But Iowa, Wisconsin, big
You
rivalry
hope that.
here. Big rivalry here between these two historic programs. And obviously, I mean, this one is the
Yeah.
Heartland
Talking
Trophy
about that
rivalry.
rivalry, I was scrolling Reddit, and there was some really interesting stuff about how deep that rivalry goes.
But, I mean, the Heartland Trophy for the winner. And this is a very even rivalry. So, I mean, obviously, maybe not the biggest rivalry for either of these teams, but still in a very important game for both of these two seasons. And Iowa, they're 3-2. They're coming off of a loss to Indiana. Respectable. Indiana is undefeated. They're the number 7 team in the country. And what's most important that they got out of this game is the play of Mark Gronowski, which was pretty average at best. So that's so like it all comes down to this offense, and the key to this offense is Mark Gronowski. Will he perform? Will he not? That's the key for them in this game. They're playing at Camp Randall, which is obviously going to be tough. Wisconsin, they have not looked too great this season. I mean, a bad loss to Maryland, a loss to Michigan. After that, they still have not beaten a Power Five team, and I think that that will stay the same. I don't think I mean the quarterback play for both of these teams is just very poor, and I think that Iowa's got the better defense, even if it is one of the worst defenses that Kurt Ferentz has fielded. I still think Iowa's got it. I think they should improve 4-2.
I do have some unfortunate news. I will no longer be going to Iowa's bowl games after my 2 year streak is up, so I need to find an Iowa game to go to. Um, and they don't play at Maryland this year, which makes that very hard.
Yeah, because because we went to the Iowa Maryland game, right? So obviously they don't play. They're good.
Well, no, I mean they. Oh no, I also can't go to their bowl game this year like I had been, so I can't continue my Iowa fandom.
All right, that's great, bro. This next game very interesting as well. UCLA.
UCLA, Michigan State, little brother for you, Sam, is
Hold up, Michael,
UCLA
Michael,
gonna?
Michael, Michael. Why'd you pick Wisconsin?
Oopsies.
Anyways, so I mean, the little brothers in each of these rivalries. With their biggest rivals, UCLA, the little brother to USC. At
No,
least,
opposite. Hey,
at least in football. Michigan State, the little brother to Michigan. Pretty obvious. And which of these two teams will come out on top is the question. Nico Iamaleava led his team to a big victory over Penn State last weekend. Very
yeah.
interesting, because I mean they've obviously looked so bad to start the season. They've looked so bad, but
It's just
maybe
hard to
this
root for
one
such
game,
a horrible team,
but
such a horrible guy.
maybe that one game could flip it all around. Maybe it will. I mean, I don't think they'll obviously be anywhere near uh, like the middle of the pack of the Big Ten. They shouldn't be, but Michigan State maybe a target team that they could maybe try to get closer to. And I don't think they've got what it takes. I don't think that traveling to East Lansing, I don't think they'll be able to take them down there.
I agree. Michigan State finishes it off. Alabama goes to Missouri. Will Missouri pull off an upset? Please.
All right, Mizzou, they are undefeated right now. Unlike Alabama, they are 5-0. They took down Kansas in the border war. They took down South Carolina. Those are their two big wins from the season so far. Now they play at home against Bama, and this one will be interesting. And Ahmad Hardy, I mean, his success for ULM has translated to the SEC. I mean, he's already gotten 730 yards, 9 touchdowns for the Tigers this year. Alabama, I mean, just have a passing attack. Ty Simpson has been very impressive for them. Uh, Running the football, they have not been nearly as impressive. I mean, the carries and yards have been pretty evenly split by Jamarian Miller and Kevin Riley. And uh, this will be interesting because Missouri has a very well their offense functions very well. They've got a good passing attack with Bo Perbula. Ahmad Hardy, a very solid running back. Can their defense stop Ty Simpson and Alabama's passing attack? Because that's pretty much what they've got right now. Not much of a running threat, really. So if the defense can hold on, they can stop Ty Simpson. They they can win this game
Well, I certainly know that our defense in flag football couldn't do that. So
against Ty Simpson. I don't think that guy was anywhere near as good as Ty Simpson.
yes, but you guys are getting burnt like little
Who's
kids.
you guys, bro?
Who's us?
You're the cornerback.
You and annoying one.
What? What are you talking about, bro? Anyways, so I do like Missouri in this game, but I just can't like for me to pick Missouri to beat Alabama. It's just tough because Alabama is such a blue blood. Missouri's kind of new onto the scene as a top program, so I'm gonna pick Alabama in this one, even though I do like how Missouri matches up with them.
As much as I would hope to disagree, I don't. Charlotte Orange.
All right, Army, they have had a very poor start to the year. We thought maybe they'll be nearly as good as they were last year. That it has not been the case. They lose to Charlotte State week 1. They bounce back against K State, which you might have thought is a big win. It is not at all. Um, they're 2-3 right now. They finally get another win over UAB after a month-long hiatus. But they play Charlotte here. Let's be real, Charlotte's just not a great program. They're 1-4 right now. Uh they still have not taken down an FBS program. They couldn't even take down a UNC, which is very embarrassing. So I'm going to go with Army. Michael.
They should have won that game, Charlotte. That was pathetic, their performance against a solidly terrible UNC team. Their game against USF was kind of fluky. You don't know what was going on there. Washington State, Ole Miss, Wazoo certainly doing better of the two. Former the Pac-2, but
All right, this one
not
is actually
great.
interesting. I mean, Wazoo, they're overall they're kind of all right.
Up the Wazoo.
Ole Miss is they're undefeated, number 4 in the country, and that spot might be deserved with big wins in SEC play, especially against LSU. Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, he has looked very solid. Let's be real, but at the
He's
same
looked
time,
shockingly good.
like
I've
I
been
mean, these
impressed by
past few
this
games
kid.
for Trinidad Chambliss have been outstanding. He's gotten nearly 1,000 yards in his last 3 games combined. He has been very solid for the Ole Miss team against some quality opponents. But at the same time, he did also come from a D2 program. It's tough for me to say that D2 football, his success on that stage, will translate to the SEC for Ole Miss. But at the same time, this is not an SEC program. We've seen that Wazoo, I mean, Ole Miss has so many more surrounding pieces around him than a team like, let's say, Ferris State had for him. Wazoo,
I mean,
no
Ferris State is the best D2 program, just for the record. I
that is
know you don't
true,
watch much.
but that does not mean that is anywhere near the level of Ole Miss. Obviously, Wazoo. I
I
mean,
know, but
Wazoo. They've already taken down
not like he was.
LSU.
It's not
Okay,
like he was playing with.
but he has nowhere near the talent. Uh, that Thursday has nowhere near the talent of Ole Miss and Wazoo. Not
Who was debating?
not quite as good as these blue blood SEC programs that they've already beaten in LSU. Other talented SEC programs. I mean, so it's got to be Ole Miss.
I agree. Ole Miss at home finishes off Washington State. NC State at Notre Dame. Notre Dame reaping the rewards of their ACC scheduling agreement here. Will NC State bounce back from their pretty sad loss to Virginia Tech last week?
Well, their loss to Virginia Tech was 2 weeks ago. But anyways, they
This is an NC State team that, correct me if I'm wrong, beat Florida. Not Florida. Beat um
Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, they beat Virginia. I don't really know where you got Florida from, but
Well, I was thinking about Florida State. Sorry about that.
all right. So, anyways, NC State. I mean, they've looked pretty solid this season up until that Virginia Tech game. I mean, back-to-back losses to Duke and Virginia Tech were not ideal at all for the team. They got one back against Campbell last week, but Notre Dame's much higher quality than any of these teams that they have played so far, even these teams that they've lost to. So, playing at Notre Dame, it's always going to be tough for anyone. And
Breaking news: LeBron James will be sidelined for 3 to 4 weeks due to
Michael, bro,
sciatica.
I think anybody in the world has seen that by now. Uh, all
When
right.
did that come
So,
out?
what?
When did it come out?
Like 3 minutes ago?
On where?
ESPN?
It just came out to me on ESPN, so you're lying.
Well, no, a Bleacher Report. It's a
Oh yeah, you're a
LBJ miss.
Bleacher Report.
Anyways,
I
it
forgot
doesn't
the
matter
Bleacher Report.
because this is not an NBA thing. This is college
Oh,
football, the greatest sport in the world. Uh, and and
Yeah, I'm going to.
at 3:30 on Peacock. I think that Notre Dame should handle business. I think that NC State all right, but uh, Notre Dame too much for them to handle. And also a 23-point spread. I mean, feels like maybe a bit high, but at the same time, Vegas knows what they're doing. And a 23-point spread, it's always tough to pick against a team that's
Vegas
more
knows what they're
favored.
doing. A statement that you can apply to the Power Five only. I just want to make that clear.
All right, Michael.
Vegas doesn't know.
What? All right, I picked Notre Dame, bro.
You did.
Yeah,
Wake Forest, Oregon State. Is Oregon State going to
it's
win a
Oregon
football game?
State gonna finish winless. We will see. I mean, they it's not like they have amazing chances. Well, they do, but they could become 0-7 pretty easily here. Wake Forest only uh favored to win by a field goal. Wake Forest they have been. I mean, on paper, this game should be close. Will it be close? We'll see. Because Wake Forest, they've played some close games this year against teams that they should be beating by a lot, against teams that should be beating them by a lot.
Kennesaw State.
So, like for example, Kennesaw State, for
Appalachian State.
instance, Georgia Tech. So, I mean, this one could be another one of those that they should be winning by a lot and don't. I mean, Oregon State's just not looking great, but at the same time, they've still got talent. Coming into the year, I did think they would be the better out of these two Pac-2 programs, and I don't exactly know what happened for them to be so bad, but I think that will continue here. I think that Wake Forest pulls off yet another pulls off another win, and Oregon State another close loss.
I mean, I agree, but there is something to be considered about Wake Forest traveling all the way across the country. I mean, it's the ACC now. I mean, they have to do it for conference games, so they'll make do. They'll win the game. UNLV Air Force.
That is accurate. So, Air Force obviously just a few last week they lose to their rivals Navy. They're sitting at 1-4 right now. Still 0 wins since week one, and they still have not beaten an FBS program. Their offense has looked very good this year, putting up many points against all these programs. But UNLV, one of the most talented Group of Five programs, with all these and don't know why they're so bad, but they're just. I mean, they normally are very solid actually, compared to the other Commander in Chief rivals of theirs. But UNLV looking a lot better. Air Force not looking good at all. UNLV should win this one.
I agree. Just want to talk about UNLV for a second. Obviously, everyone was shocked with their Idaho State game. I mean, that was truly depressing. Idaho State last week played an unbelievably close game. I believe they won. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat with Montana. Great game. Watch the end of it on Sunday morning. It was over on ESPN Plus, not sponsored, of course. But that game, I think it looks a little less bad after what UNLV were able to do. Sam will be departing us, I believe, for a little bit. Oklahoma, Texas, the Red River Shootout. Sam, are you with us?
What?
He
Why would I
is.
not be, bro?
Oh, he is with
What
us.
happened? Wait, what? Uh, all right. Hold up. Let's see. The Red Rover rivalry, obviously. Texas, now unranked after the
Sam, the
loss to
people can't hear.
Florida.
Sam, they can't hear you. Dame un segundo, por favor.
Hold up. What? What's happening?
They
All right.
leave and rejoin.
All right. All right, Michael.
Sam will be leaving and then rejoining us. Sam rejoin us. But OU Texas, OU has looked great this year. Definitely a top 10 team. Sam says he will be leaving for real this time. Okay. All right. Oklahoma, Texas. Let's talk about it. Seems like I'll be doing the discussion. The Reds River rivalry sponsored by Allstate. Don't like that it's sponsored, but I do love this game. And this has been a really close game the past couple of years. The Red River, it used to be called Shootout. Now it's called the Red River rivalry. Texas sitting unranked at 3-2. The ESPN matchup predictor gives them a 60% chance of victory. I don't agree with that, to be honest. Arch Manning, 81 for 135, 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That's a pretty bad ratio. John Mateer, we're not sure, I believe, who whether he'll be playing in this game. That's important, very important for Oklahoma as to who will possibly win this game. Although I just think that Texas isn't a very good program this year. I mean, they only beat UTEP 27-10, SJSU 38-7, but that game was not close, was not that far even for a 38-7 game. Their only impressive resume game is only a 7-point loss to Ohio State, but even that we're not sure about. The loss at Florida really should be a wake-up call to Texas. I think Oklahoma gets it done in at the Texas State Fair. Ball State, Western Michigan, as we round out our picks today. Traditional MAC game, very, very normal. Ball State hailing out of Indiana, Western Michigan, of course, from Michigan. Western Michigan favored on the spread. I agree. I think they get it done. They've had a much better start to the season with their victory over Toledo and their overtime loss to North Texas, now looking quite good with how North Texas's season has progressed. Ball State overtime losses, overtime loss, I believe overtime loss at Connecticut, beat New Hampshire just barely. We predicted them that they would lose that game. Were dog walked, of course, by Purdue and Auburn. And beat Ohio. That was their impressive win last week. That was a great game. Ohio got a Hail Mary chance at the end. That are led by Ball State. I don't really like the way this looks. I think Western Michigan is going to be able to shut. I think Western Michigan just has a strong enough, high-powered offense that when they can get going, they're going to struggle. I like the way Ball State matches up in this one, but I think Western Michigan finishes it off. San Jose State versus Wyoming. And let's pull up our preview of that here. It'll be this game. Let me just give you the initial thoughts here. Mountain West game, San Jose State couldn't get it done versus Stanford, Wyoming. We predicted to lose to Northern Iowa. That may have been a minor overreaction, to say the least. San Jose State favored by only 1.5, so I'm right in my skepticism. 52.8 to 47.2. Very close, according to ESPN's matchup predictor. San Jose State stayed with Texas, although is that really impressive? Lost to Central Michigan, not looking too great, and then a close win versus Idaho. But Wyoming, they lost 37-20 to Colorado, lost by 14 to UNLV in the snow, got just walloped by Utah. I think Wyoming's slow developing offense will probably be able to pull it off because San Jose State definitely does not have the offensive firepower needed to pull away really, really quickly. I think they win that game. San Diego State, Nevada, another Mountain West matchup to finish this one out. Another one that I am excited to see. This game always a great basketball game, not typically as exciting of a football matchup. And San Diego State, I believe, has had the better start to the season. I haven't watched much Mountain West this year. I got to get on to some of that. They got to start playing their games back at 7:30 slot on Fridays. That's what makes their games so fun to watch. San Diego State favored heavily in this one on the road. I think they get it done. Nevada sitting at only 1-4. Their quarterback has one touchdown and 8 interceptions. My goodness. And all the losses, even lost to Middle Tennessee State, one of the worst teams in the history of this sport. Maybe it's time to consider Nevada for that title. Only victory is a 20-17 win over Sacramento State. The only game that looked pretty good in is a Purdue game where they lost 46-11, and now Purdue's not even any good, so we can't give them any credit. Utah State versus Hawaii. That will round out our slate at 11:59 p.m. Eastern on the Mountain West. Ah, that is quite the game time there. Utah State slightly favored by both ESPN and Vegas. Bryson Barnes, a really, really good quarterback. I think he's going to do pretty well. Always a struggle when you go on take on Hawaii. But I think that and Utah State looked pretty good against Vanderbilt. I think Utah State wins this football game. I think it'll be very close. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Utah State pulls it off on the road. And that'll be it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. For those of you who tuned in, hope you had a good Thursday. And of course, for those who are watching over on YouTube, thank you for watching. And we will see you next week, most likely.